Testing. Alright, I think that's working now. Yeah. Krogan and OG Brundle, welcome. Yeah, glad you can hear me. I didn't have my microphone plugged in when I started. So, hello and welcome to another Monday night stream. Kind of quiet. Wonder if there's a setting somewhere I can play with. I don't know. Oh, hang on. How about this? Can you hear me? I'm a bit quieter now. Louder now. How much longer until Grand Admiral Thrawn makes his return to the galaxy? Well, Ahsoka begins next week. Floopy, hello. Ocean Views, hello and welcome. Alright, I'm glad you can all hear me. So yeah, Ahsoka begins next week. And Thrawn also is going to be making his appearance again in the next few chapters of Heir to the Empire, which is always exciting. I like working on Thrawn scenes. But that's not what I'm working on tonight. Well, I am working on Heir to the Empire, but sadly not Thrawn directly. What I'm going to be doing is I've got a Scout Trooper character model, and I'm going to bring it in. I hope Thrawn's in every episode of Ahsoka. Don't we all? I spent some time with some friends yesterday, and one of them made the joke of, what if it's like The Force Awakens and Thrawn just shows up at the very end of the very last episode. Christian, the Force is with you from Germany. Well, thank you. You must be staying up very late to catch this stream, but I do appreciate it. Just want to let you know what you're doing with Heir to the Empire's Law's work. Oh, that's very kind of you indeed. Thank you. So yeah, I'm going to bring in the Scout Trooper. Because I need it for chapter 28 and 29. And Character Creator 4, which is something that you guys were kind enough to support me buying a while back, has this feature where you can bring in entire character models and it sets them up for you. And you still have to do a little bit of work, which I'm going to be doing today. So you can't see it, but it's actually loading in the Scout Trooper model now. D-Man, hello. And welcome. Right, so this mess on the ground is the Scout Trooper. Now what I'm going to do quickly is bring in the textures so we can actually see him better. So bear with me just a moment. We don't need opacity. So this character model's got 3 sections. It's got the body, the gloves, and the helmet. So bring those in. Is that the Scout Trooper before or after he crashed into the tree on Endor? At the moment it looks like after. Scout Trooper is my favourite trooper since the first time in Return of the Jedi. Always wanted to cosplay it, but it costs too much. One of my friends did a really good Scout Trooper. I don't know how much he spent on it. But he's actually going to be voicing this scout trooper that's in Heir to the Empire because it seemed very appropriate. So I recorded that dialogue with him yesterday. Alright, so got the basic textures in. There's more advanced textures that will apply later, but this is just so we can get an idea of the pieces. Now I did do a quick run through of this earlier because I've not imported a full character model like this with these new features at all. When I did 3PO and Chewie and the other Stormtrooper, there's a very different method of bringing character models in. So this is my first time doing this properly. Obviously that looks very painful, so what we need to do is get him into a T-pose. We've got this set HIK T-pose option, so we're going to see what this does. Okay, I think we're going to set the bones to red so we can actually see them. Do all the troopers and TIE pilots at 7 of Thrawn have the emblem of the 7th Fleet on their armor, or only the high-ranking troops and pilots have that? Well, that's in Rebels. I have not done it for Heir to the Empire. Alright, so what we need to do is where the hips are there, so we're going to rotate him that way. No, minus 90. So at least he's upright now. Still looks very painful. So what we need to do is go through the various bones that make up this rig. So these lines are the skeleton that link up to the different body parts. So when you see the character move, it's these bones that have the animation data and it's connected to the character model. So this new feature just does it all for you, which is very nice. Do all the character models start like this? No. When I created the character models from scratch, like for Luke, Leia, Han, Thrawn and so on, they don't look like this. This is just something to do with the way this character model is imported. I believe this is actually from Battlefront 2, the EA Battlefront 2, and something about the way that they stored the data. I do not know exactly how it ended up like this. Right, so what we're going to do, let's do the legs. Right, so we want to have that at 0, that at 90 degrees, and that at 0. So that leg, we'll come to the foot in a minute. Let's do the other leg first. So 0. Didn't seem to have the 0, 90, and 0. Yeah, there we go. The leg is aligned correctly. That's so weird unpacking it. I know. I had kind of hoped that he would just be already in the correct T-pose, but if he had been, this probably would not have been my stream for tonight. Let's do the feet. Crazy, hello and welcome. 90, no, that's not right. Let's go with 25. I don't think I can do much about the toes because the toe joint seems to be missing. But I'm not really going to focus on his feet anyway, so we'll just let it slide. It's 25, and that was minus 90. What's up all? We're making some kind of river dance here. You know, like, that would make for a good blooper reel, wouldn't it? Right, so his legs are fine. Now we need to sort out his arms. So let's bring shoulder down. 0, 0. And same for the other shoulder bone. 0. No, that needs to be 180. Okay. Now there's a bit of a clipping issue here. Now what I think I'm going to do is let's rotate this shoulder back just a little bit. There we go. And we'll do the same here. Didn't quite work the way intended, so let's bring it down. Yeah. So just to be even, we'll bring this one down too. Does this scout trooper escort Luke and Mara out of the forest? Yes, he does. This is the one that does that. And then meet up with the other Imperials. Does he have his gun? This particular character model does not have the gun, and that's actually a good thing, because if it's stuck to his leg, I wouldn't be able to detach it. So what I need to do at some point is to find the Scout Trooper blaster as a separate model, and then I can add it to his hand so he can use it later on as needed. But as of right now, he does not have it. So we want the arm to be 180. We want that to be 0. And that to be 0. And the same on the other side. There we go. Nice, no clipping there. Looking pretty good. Now what we need to do next is straighten out these arms, because that looks very painful. Let's start here though. We want that to be facing down. What's happened here is the hand has rotated 180 degrees the wrong way. So let's have that to 0, that to 0, that to 180. Do you think Thrawn would try regaining control over Lothal in a circle, or do you think that would be a waste of time for him? I'd say that's probably a waste of time for him. We don't necessarily know the state of Lothal in Rebels, but I feel like that would not necessarily be Thrawn's primary objective. Maybe sort of long-term plan, because he does think long-term, but that's not going to be his. That's not going to be the first thing on his mind. So there we go. He's got his hand outstretched. Now what we actually want to do is have it that way. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Sherry, hello, welcome. It's always nice to see you. So what we've done here, we're going to go and do on the other arm. Start here. How did Thrawn survive the space squid? That is a very good question. And I'm looking forward to finding out what the answer is. I don't know if we'll get the answer straight away, but I imagine we will at some point over the next 2 months. That's the thumb in the correct position. I should probably correct the other thumb. Yeah, that's not right. Let's go to 0, 0, 0. Okay. That's 90. Nope. Let's go minus 90. Be minus 90. Okay. It's a little bit painful, but I'm sure he will survive. So let's get rid of that option. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to animation, pose, calibration, T-pose. Now T-pose is just a standard animation pose. And there we go. Let's try some of these other. I wonder if Ahsoka will train Sabine in a Jedi temple or on Lothal. I haven't been watching all the latest videos. I watched the trailer from about a month ago. I think there's a forest in there. I can't remember. I think he's looking pretty good. Do you have any idea when the next chapter will be released? I'm going to say soon. And I mean very soon. I think you're going to enjoy. I did answer. There is no schedule for when they get released. They get released when they're finished, and everyone involved, all the voice actors, are doing it for fun. They have to fit their lives around. They fit their recording around the rest of their lives, you know, their jobs and so on. So it's when it can be done. So there's never been a fixed schedule. It's just the way it is. Obviously, when COVID and everything was locked down, they had more free time, but that's not the case anymore. Geek Squadron, thank you so much. 40,000 subscribers was a nice achievement on Saturday. I should have mentioned that earlier in the stream. Did cross the 40,000 subscriber mark. So Geek Squadron, thank you so much for your support there. I do appreciate it as always, and your kind words. So yeah, the Scout Trooper's looking pretty good. Almost. What I need to do is bring in the other texture options. So we'll start with the helmet. I did. What's the roughness? This makes it shiny. And we need a normal map, so the little bumps and dents are a little bit more pronounced. There we go. Hoppy. We'll use our 1-inch fan brush to help make little tube. It's always good to see you, Hoppy. Have you read Star Wars Lost Stars? I have not. One of my friends tried to convince me to read it, but I just never actually found the time for it. I don't need that. What I'm going to do is reduce the strength to about 25. So the dings and dents are still visible, but not too much. All I'm going to say is just keep an eye on the channel, because I think you're going to be happy with what's coming up, but I don't want to say it just yet. So we want to, I'm just going to adjust these settings a little bit. So that's the Claudia Gray one with the manga adapt. I didn't know they'd done a manga version of that. Maybe I should just read that. Right, so that's kind of got the right level of shininess for a scout trooper. Okay, next up is the body. So let me now that's a bit too shiny, but we'll fix that in a minute. Just need to bring in the bump map as well for the ugh. Okay, so that, let's reduce the bump level down to 25. And we're going to invert that because we want the armor to be shiny, not the suit. That looks about right. Yeah. It's like Star Wars Bob Ross. Maybe I should get the Bob Ross wig. Have other subscriptions, that way you can watch other fun things while you wait. Just an idea. Okay, I think he's done. So I'm going to save him. Scout Trooper. Got to export him into iClone. This is going to take a moment, so nothing interesting is going to happen on the videos for the next few minutes. Oh, well, not a few minutes, but oh, that was quicker than it usually is. Okay, and while we're at it, let's export this to Omniverse. Scout Trooper. You know who would look good? Great in the job. What is it with you and Lobot? Now I'm going to load up. I want to see how this looks in NVIDIA Omniverse, since that's going to be the final rendering platform. So I'm just going to load it up. Star Wars Master Editors. Hello, welcome. Didn't they give RT one in Family Guy? I only ever watched the must have been one of the Star Wars specials that they did. I only watched those because I was never into Family Guy, but I did enjoy those, and I vaguely remember they gave R2 one of those. Well, someone had that kind of hair anyway. Right, so let me switch over to Omniverse. I hope this works. That's the launcher. It's not going so well. Let's try that one. Right. Scout Trooper. Now what I like to do is get rid of these default lights and place that looks pretty good. So I'm going to turn this light off. Try one more thing. Environments, that's what we want. It's loading. I've still got character creator up as well because I'm not quite finished with that. I'm going to try another character as well while we're here because this didn't take very long. And I've got another one ready to go that's going to be useful later as well. Do you think Thrawn would have some non-humans serving him in Ahsoka since it seems... Well, it'd be true to the books, because Thrawn was never interested... He didn't care about gender, skin colour, or what species someone was. All he cared about was skill. So I would think he would work with whoever had the skills he needed. Or whoever was good at their job. That looks pretty good. Do you think there'll be Nogri in Ahsoka? Well, they were in Rebels. There was one Nogri in Rebels, so I imagine that'll look like that, but hopefully a little bit scarier. Right, Scout Trooper's looking pretty good. Let's go back to Character Creator. Close Omniverse. So I run a community of Star Wars editors and filmmakers, and your film's absolutely perfect. Would you consider joining our community? Free advertising is included. Yep. What's the name of your community? I'd be happy to join a group of fellow fan filmmakers. Alright, so the Scout Trooper turned out really nicely. Let's try. Okay, this one might be a little bit harder. Same as the name. Oh, okay. Well, let me let me make a quick note of that, and I will look into it after the stream. Thank you. Password welcome to Ducks. Good password choice though. This. So I've got an Imperial Pilot character model. I don't know if this is going to work because the Scout Trooper is all in one, and the Pilot seems to be in a number of pieces. It's doing something. I had a feeling it might be too good to be true though, because it's a really good Imperial Pilot model, but okay. Well, I guess that's the chest piece. Alright, let's try. Try the legs, see what happens there. This may not work the way I thought it would, which, oh, never mind. It was definitely worth a try though. It's doing something. There's a little progress bar which isn't showing up on the screen. Okay, here we go, some legs. And it's just some legs. Now I believe there's a way to import clothing, and so this may have to work as a clothing item rather than a character model, and then I could just get a plain character model and then put these clothing options on them. I do not know how to do that, so I have to find a tutorial to do that, and then I can have this. That may work for this Imperial Pilot, but obviously this is not the way. Liberdocs, welcome. You did indeed. I just finished up a Scout Trooper. I was trying the same thing with an Imperial Pilot, but all we've got is his legs. That's all the Empire could find because the Ewoks ate. I guess the Ewoks didn't really like the legs that much. Alright, okay, bear with me a moment. Let me just... I downloaded something else that I need to bring in. can I do it yet? It's still zipped up and everything, so I'm just extracting it. Not the most exciting thing to look at, but when there is, I will switch over to it. Okay, and we need that. Right, I'm going to switch over to 3D Exchange. That one works much more smoothly than the Omniverse did. So I'm looking for the file. There we go, it's in here. Don't know if this is going to work. It may or may not. That was much easier than I expected. But of course you can't have a scout trooper without his speeder bike. That's a really nice model. See, I downloaded this earlier. I didn't have a chance to have a good look at it until now. Alright, let's bring that into iClone. Was Bastion the planet's real name, or was it a code name? I can't remember. It might be a case of the it wasn't the real name, but the real name was forgotten. I'll just put in ship so I know it's a speeder bike, but whatever. You'd like to build a pilot instead of a snowman? Yes. Yes, that's what I was trying to do. I thought on the Imperial capital name that's Bastion in Legends. So Coruscant was the Imperial capital until they lost it to the New Republic. And then there was lots of infighting. Well, there was Thrawn obviously had his campaign. After Thrawn was defeated, there was lots of infighting by different Imperial warlords who wanted to take over. And eventually that kind of calmed down, and Bastion was established as the Imperial Eminence capital world. Right, so that's imported. Now I need to load up iClone itself, so bear with me a second. Loading up iClone. I'll switch over to it when it has. Hoppy, don't you start with that song. Moff Disra was awful, nobody should have put him in charge. And it kind of comes down to a point of there was no one better left. Bastion was a code name for a series of worlds, but finally settled permanently on Ardus Kane's homeworld of... Yeah, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. You can all see what it says. Right, so iClone's loaded. Let's switch over to it. There we go. don't actually know how long this was running a sector. I think he had it for a while. It was kind of, you kind of get the impression that he'd been there for a long time, and that there's just, he was the best of very limited options. So there we go. We've got this. We've got the bike in, and I think what we need to do is, where is he? Yeah. Right, okay. So the scout trooper for some reason is up in the air, and the speeder bike is not. Hold on, let's go to high quality mode. We can. Okay, so the scout trooper's in the correct place. The bike is not. You can tell by the shadow there. I think he might have just been lucky that the remnant happened to be shrinking around the sector he ruled. Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got. Master Luke, hello and welcome. As always, Master Luke is the voice of Luke Skywalker here in Heir to the Empire. I'd love to see someone mod their bike with this and cruise around. Maybe it not be street legal though. I feel like I've seen someone do it. Don't know if it's this particular bike, but I'm sure I've seen someone do a speeder bike or a swoop. AFK, hello and welcome. Always good to see you when you drop by the channel. Everyone should check out AFK's channel. There's they do some excellent Star Wars videos, usually involving stormtroopers. If that's too big, let's bring it up to. Actually, I think it was the right size. It's just far away. Maybe it's too big. Guys, I saw a DeLorean in real life. He let me sit in it. I was totally geeking out. Very nice. I'm envious. Yeah, I think the speeder bike there is actually the correct size. It was a stick shift too. I wish I could have driven it. It's low on the ground. I was surprised. Take back to the 80s. Well, that bike is fully textured and ready to go. Quick question. Have you ever looked into the Realision Pitch and Produce Fund? I've heard of it, but I don't really know anything about it. I wasn't really sure a Star Wars fan film would qualify for the obvious legal reasons of, you know, I don't really own Star Wars, so that's why I never really looked that closely into it. Although the little bits and pieces I know about it are, it sounds like a really good idea. Is that something you're looking into for your project? I built a deck for a guy back in 2018. He had a DeLorean. He wouldn't sit in it. So you could have offered a discount if he let you sit in it. Like, you could have said, I'll charge you a little bit less if I can sit in the DeLorean. He told me he had never even seen Back to the Future. Wow. Yeah, well, I don't know what to say to that. It's... yeah. Okay, let's move on from that because I have no idea how to continue that particular conversation. I'm actually got a bit of cash out of them doing behind the scenes video of my process. Yeah, I think it should be okay because the video would be about how you're using the software. That sounds intriguing. I might have to look into that after all then. I'll, you know what, I'm going to add this to my notes of... there's two things to look up after the stream. Real Illusion... what do you call it? Pitch and Produce Fund. Okay, thank you for that. I'll definitely have to investigate. Yeah, I'm trying not to think about that guy that owns the DeLorean but has not seen the film that made DeLoreans really famous. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the speeder bike was really quick to bring in. I thought it needed a bit more work for that, but I think that looks really... actually, yeah, that looks fine, I think. Don't think I've got any bike riding animations for the Scout Trooper. That's going to be fun motion capture for me to do. So I can't really put him on it. But I'm happy with how both of these have turned out. Yeah. So I've kind of finished what I set out to do this evening. I'll chat a little bit longer because I always enjoy talking to all of you. Looks good, Mr. Host. Well, thank you. How do you cap someone riding a scout bike? I guess I'm gonna have to get a chair and figure out how to sit on it like a bike. This is not a horse, where I'd have to animate bouncing up and down on it. So yeah, the speeder bike should be... should be fairly simple. I must look, thank you for stopping by. I did see what you did there, the time travel joke. It's always good to see you, and yeah, thank you for coming and sharing your DeLorean story. It must have been a huge thrill, so I'm glad you had a chance to sit in one. I'm a little bit envious. Actually, if you go back to some of my older videos, I did do a series of cosplay videos, collecting random footage from various Comic Cons. It was mostly my friends that were in it, and one of them was dressed up as the Doctor, or one of the incarnations of the Doctor, and we were standing outside, and there was a DeLorean behind him. We couldn't go and sit in it, and he says this, and this starts off the video as well. So he says, if you're going to make a time machine, you might as well do it some style. You got the DeLorean behind him, but he gestures to the side, and I pan the camera around, and the TARDIS is there. So I did have an experience with the DeLorean, but that was it. I didn't get to sit in it, or I didn't really go and have a close look at it beyond what's in the video. But if you go back and check, yes, and I did make a time travel joke there as well. Go back and check my cosplay adventure videos. I can't remember which one it was in. 2014 maybe? I think it might actually be in the thumbnail. Yeah, go back and check that out after the stream. I'm going to do it as well actually. That was a fun moment. So I made this Scout Trooper for chapter 28 and 29, and it's really dawning on me now that how close I'm getting to the end of the book, because I'm already making this stuff for those chapters, and yeah, it's exciting. Of course, 24 will be 3/4 of the way through the book. There was a Ghostbusters car come too. There's a picture of me calling Ghostbusters on the phone in front of the car. Very nice. Reviews, thanks for the show. Good night. Thank you for stopping by. Hope to see you again. I want to drive home, the doors open like mask. Alright, so I think actually it might be time to wrap up the stream. I've been here for nearly an hour. As always, it's been really great chatting with you. And I've enjoyed getting the Scout Trooper in and the bike. Got to figure out that pilot. But I need to watch a couple of tutorials for that, and I don't think me watching tutorials on the stream is necessarily the best idea, because I'd be wanting to concentrate on what they were saying, but also talking to you guys, and I don't think I'd be very good at doing either at the same time anyway. Can't wait to see Dark Force Rising. Yeah, I'm going to have to start reading that book soon, aren't I? Take care then, Darth. May the Throne be with you. Thank you so much, Crazy. So yeah, thank you all for coming. Geek Squadron, as always, thank you for the super chat. I always appreciate your support. May the Throne be with you. Take care, and see you all next time. Have a good night, and take care.